With so many confusing manifestation resources out there, it can feel like an impossible task to actually understand what it takes to manifest your dream life. And that's why in this podcast episode, I have broken down the 5 most important components that you can incorporate into your life to actually manifest that dream life. What's up, and welcome to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show, the podcast that demystifies all of the nonsense that surrounds manifestation and gives you a realistic view of what it's like to be on a personal, professional, and spiritual growth journey. I'm your host, Kat Kozad, manifestation and money mindset expert, and I'm so happy you're here. Let's fucking do this thing. So back in 2019, when I first started my intentional manifestation journey, I was so fucking confused. I was getting information left and right from different podcasts, books, YouTube videos, TikToks, all of the different things that were out there. And I had such a hard time piecing together what actually would stick and what didn't, because there were so many different rituals and methods and opinions and all of the different things. And finally, I reached the position where I decided to get help from an expert. And when I say get help from an expert, I mean hire my first manifestation coach. And I can tell you that hiring my first manifestation coach was the best decision I've ever made. It changed the game for me. And I actually shared this story on my Instagram the other day, but I don't think I've ever shared it on the podcast. But when I first hired a manifestation coach, she had found me on Instagram, and I was very hesitant to work with her at first because I had just been reintroduced to manifestation after I had hit my rock bottom position, and I was incorporating it into my life, but I was still in the position of believing that I could do it all on my own, that I could sort through all of these confusing resources, that there was all of the information that I needed out there on the internet. And when I finally surrendered to the fact that it would be easier and it would be so much more effective and efficient to learn from an expert, then I decided to work with her. At that time, I was $70,000 in debt. I had $200 in my bank account, but I decided and I knew and I trusted that by making the decision to work with her, it was going to completely change the trajectory of my life and allow me to fully step into and become the version of myself who could manifest the life of my dreams. And so when she told me what the price of her program was, it freaked me the fuck out, but I said yes. I maxed out my credit card. And in the following weeks, I completely changed my life. What was taking me months on my own of sorting through and sifting through all of these confusing resources that are out there in terms of the internet and books and whatnot, trying to pull it all together, I was able to understand so fully, incorporate into my life, and drastically and radically change my life in such a short amount of time by choosing to commit to myself in that way, go all in on learning from a coach, and really incorporate all of those teachings into my life. And I share this story because to the average person, to the logical and practical mind, they would listen to that story and think that I was fucking crazy to invest in a manifestation coaching program when I had $200 in my bank account. I had no clue how I was going to pay rent that month. I was $70,000 in debt, working 60 plus hours a week in a job that I absolutely hated and living paycheck to paycheck, just like such a challenging position. But I knew that in order for things to change in my life, I had to change and I had to take big inspired action in order for the universe to start to support me in creating a greater and better life for myself. So that is the step that I took. I can say to this day, it's the best decision that I've ever made, because now, fast forward 3.5 years later, y'all know it if you're here listening to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show and have been here, but I have manifested a life that is greater than anything that I could have ever imagined for myself. Like, I am living the dream beyond the dream, a dream that I didn't even know I had because I didn't think it was possible for me to live a life that is as abundant as I'm living right now. And in the process of creating and manifesting this life for myself, I have been able to incorporate so many different manifestation methods, so many different manifestation practices, healing practices, modalities into my life, and have helped over 250 women do the exact same thing, so that I can actually tell you what works inside of the manifestation process and what doesn't. And that is why we are here today on the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. I am going to be giving you the 5 most important components to manifesting your dream life. So if you are ready to manifest that dream life, stay tight, listen to the full length of this podcast, because I'm going to give you all of the juice. But before we dive into that, I want to let you know that enrollment is finally open for the Abundant AF Babe Academy, which is my signature online manifestation program that has been designed specifically to help you eliminate all mental, emotional, and energetic blockages that are holding you back from fully manifesting all of your desires, fully manifesting the money, the abundance, the wealth, the freedom, the happiness in your life, so that you can be living your best life. And just like I shared a minute ago, this is something that I have done not only for myself, but I've now helped over 250 women through as well in the past 3 years. And it is incredible to see what they have done with their lives since joining the Abundant AF Babe Academy. So if you are ready to transform your life, transform your finances, and genuinely live the best possible life that you could ever imagine for yourself, the Abundant AF Babe Academy was made for you. 20% of the spots in the academy have already been claimed for this round. So if you have been wanting to work with me, or if you are brand new to this and this sounds like something that you know you need to be a part of, you will want to click the link down below in the show notes and go to the website to join the Abundant AF Babe Academy. You can join directly from the webpage, and once you do, you get instant access to the inside of it before group coaching calls start. So all of the details are on the website. If you have any additional questions, you can send me a message over on Instagram, or you can book in a free 30-minute consultation call with me, where you can ask any and all of your questions about the academy, see if there's anything that you need support with in making your decision to come on board for the academy, because I can guarantee you this academy will change your life in the best possible way. But if you are on the fence and you want to talk to me face to face, you can book in for that 30-minute consultation call. And one last thing I should mention is that enrollment will be closing on February 28th of 2023, or when the spots fill up, whichever comes first. So again, if you have been thinking about it, or if you know that this is something that you need, click the link down below and join the academy. And with that being said, let's actually dive into this podcast episode. Like I said, I'm going to be giving you those 5 things. And throughout each of these 5 things, I'm going to be relating it back to an example of manifesting a life full of time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom, so that I can paint a clear picture for you and relate it back to something that majority of the women that I've worked with in the past 3 years have really wanted for themselves. So I can imagine if you're here listening to the podcast, you are also wanting to manifest a life of complete freedom. But I'm going to be relating it back to that so that you can take these 5 components and apply it to that, or whatever else it is that you are wanting to manifest in your life. So first and foremost, the component that you must focus on at the beginning of your intentional manifestation journey is doing the inner work. So what do I mean when I say doing the inner work? This is a hot, trendy word on Instagram and TikTok and all of the places that you hear about manifestation. But when I say doing the inner work, what I actually mean is diving into your subconscious conditioning, diving into your childhood, diving into what you were taught to believe growing up, the experiences that you had, the traumas that you experienced, whatever it may be, and identifying within those things what mental, emotional, and energetic blockages you may have. So in my personal life, when I started to do the inner work, what I realized was that I had a very challenging relationship with myself. I had a very challenging relationship with my dad. I had a very challenging relationship with the way that I perceived people and money and the world because of my upbringing. So as I dove into the inner work, it was so crucial for me to go back and look into childhood, the things that I experienced, the traumas that I had, the things that I was still carrying with me that were creating the story in which I was telling myself about my life. Because the way in which our life manifests is the story that we are telling ourselves. So if you are being the victim to your own reality, or you are holding on to things that do not serve you, or you use certain things as protection mechanisms or safety blankets, or have self-sabotaging behaviors, or whatever it may be, those different things are blockages inside of you that are creating resistance to you manifesting what you desire into your life. And in manifesting your dream life, doing the inner work is, in my opinion, the first thing you must do if you want it to be an effortless sort of journey later on. But it's really important because otherwise you're essentially just trying to plant new seeds for abundance, but not having the space for it because there's tons of weeds that are taking up the room where you want flowers to grow. And I use this example a lot, but the way that I like to think about this is essentially if your mind was a garden, if you haven't done the inner work, your garden is full of weeds. And instead of walking around the garden, trimming down the weeds, pretending like they're not going to grow back, which a lot of manifestation resources will tell you to do with like forcing gratitude, forcing positivity, forcing affirmations, forcing meditation. Yes, those things work for a short amount of time because you are trimming those weeds down and you're going to feel a little bit better for a short period of time. But ultimately, because the roots to those weeds still live underneath the ground, they're going to continue to grow back. So instead, when doing the inner work, what the focus is to go back to where do those limiting beliefs root from in the first place? Where does that self-sabotaging behavior root to in the first place? Where do these fears, these doubts, these worries, whatever it may be, root from in the first place? And going back to that root so that you can heal it and clear it and pull it up from that ground level so that you're creating the space in the ground to then plant the seed of what you're choosing to be true about yourself and about your life moving forward, and then going back to it and tending to it and watering it on a daily basis so that you have these big, beautiful flowers growing in its place instead. So when we relate this to manifesting a life full of complete freedom, oftentimes what I've seen with myself and with the women that I've worked with is that they have beliefs around the fact that it is not capable to be fully free, or that you're going to always have to work hard for what it is that you want, or that they're not worthy of the kind of lifestyle that allows that kind of freedom, or that people who have that kind of freedom are paying a price in some other way, or whatever it may be. So the goal in healing that is going back to where those things root from, where those beliefs, where those behaviors, where that programming roots from in the first place, and clearing it out. And this is one of the number one things that we do inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy is help you clear those out with a whole plethora of different healing modalities, because what works for one person may not work for another. And there's no one size fits all when it comes to the healing journey. So having an entire tool belt of different healing modalities to help you actually work through these different things, clear them out from the mental, emotional, and energetic level so that you are a clear channel to manifest what you want into your life is absolutely priceless. So that is your first key component, doing the inner work. Second key component is embodiment. So again, if you listen to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show, you've probably heard me talk about embodiment a lot. And that is because this is the secret sauce for manifesting what you want into your life. So what do I mean when I say embodiment? Essentially, what embodiment is becoming the version of yourself who already has your desired life, who has your manifestations before that is what your physical reality actually is. So essentially, in other words, you aligning your beliefs, your emotions, your behaviors, your thoughts, the way that you act, the way that you walk, the way that you talk, with the version of yourself who already has those manifestations. Because in our world and what we're conditioned to believe majority of the time is this when I see it, then I'll believe it mentality. So when I see that I'm rich, I'll believe that I'm rich. When I see that somebody loves me, I'll believe that I am loved. When I see that I've lost the weight, then I'll believe that I'm a fit person. Instead of embodying that, creating that as your identity, and because you are creating that as your identity, naturally more manifesting that sort of reality into your life, because we attract and manifest into our lives what we believe with absolute certainty. And the thing that we believe with absolute certainty on a conscious and subconscious level is what we identify with. So you making your identity the embodiment of your manifestations. So example of this is, again, if you are wanting to manifest that life of complete freedom, creating the embodiment for yourself of what it means to be completely free. How would you feel in mind, body, and spirit? What would you know? What beliefs would you have about yourself? What beliefs would you have about money? What beliefs would you have about work and time? What beliefs would you have about travel, about excitement, about love, about relationships? How would you walk? How would you talk? How would you show up for life? Getting clear on those things and making that your new identity so that you can embody that on a day-to-day basis in your energy and internally, so that through that, your energy being emitted out into the universe then gets attracted back by the law of attraction in like vibrational form, which attracts new opportunities, circumstances, people, things, money, whatnot to support that vibration. This is the secret sauce of manifestation. And when you do this, it makes the rest of these key components so much more effortless. So tying into that, the third component is taking inspired action. And this is the thing that a lot of manifestation experts like to miss out on and not talk about, because I think that they think it takes the magic away from manifestation, where in my opinion, this is where the magic of manifestation actually comes into place, because this is where you can accelerate the manifestation process. You can meet the universe halfway. You can call in what you want with so much more speed and so much more force, because you are taking this aligned and inspired action. So let's talk about and demystify inspired action a little bit. When I am talking about inspired action, a lot of the times people will get confused and be like, okay, well, I don't know how to take action towards my manifestation. I don't know what steps I'm supposed to take. And that's not what I'm talking about when it comes to inspired action. Inspired action is learning to get close to your own internal knowing, your intuition, your soul's purpose, your heart's desires, and acting on those things. So again, if we're talking about manifesting a life full of freedom, if that is your heart and soul's desire, it's learning to trust the intuitive pulls that you are getting that is going to take you down this path to make that your reality. So let's say that as you're manifesting that, maybe you're getting the intuitive pull to start that business, or to move to that city you've always wanted to move to strike up a conversation with the person in front of you in the grocery line at Whole Foods, to go on that road trip that you've always wanted to go on, to call that friend that you haven't talked to in a long time. Whatever it may be, learning to feel that inspiration inside of your body and then take action on it. It doesn't have to be this meticulous, thought out plan or steps in order to get you to where you want to be. It's really learning how to trust yourself and take action on the things that are coming up for you, as opposed to feel as though you have to wait for the right time, or to not take action on it for whatever reason, or that you have to stay where you are in order to gain the love and validation of other people, or support people, or maintain connection. It's really about you honoring yourself and your desires by taking action and meeting the universe halfway and conspiring to have this life that you desire for yourself. And again, this is something huge that we work on inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy, because in our world, especially as women, we have been taught to not trust ourselves. We have been conditioned to think as though our intuition is something that is trying to lead us astray, as opposed to our intuition being the thing that is guiding us towards having the most abundant and fulfilling lives that we can possibly have. So that is one of the most major things that we really focus on to help you effortlessly take these steps towards building and manifesting the life that you desire for yourself. Which then leads us into our fourth component, and this is one that also gets a lot of kickback and is oftentimes one of the most challenging parts of the manifestation process, and is oftentimes the reason that people do not manifest the life of their dreams. And that is consistency. I cannot emphasize to you enough how important it is for you to be consistent on your manifestation journey. And when I say consistent, I don't mean that you have to be journaling every single day, saying your affirmations every single day, meditating every day, doing all of these rituals, all of these routines, all of these things that we've been told from, again, social media, TikTok, YouTube, books, whatnot, that you need to be doing. When I say consistency, I mean having the willingness to continue to hold your vision of the life that you desire for yourself above everything else. To continue to return to that vision, to continue to believe in the fact that it is possible for you, to continue to move through and work through the inner work, the limiting beliefs, the different things that are coming up to try and create resistance and stop you, to move through the judgment, to move through the moments that feel like failure, to be consistent, to show up for yourself day in and day out, even and especially when you don't want to. Because the reality is, with manifestation, it's not a matter of if your manifestations are going to show up, it's a matter of when. And when you can stay consistent, those manifestations will show up without fail in your life. And the only time manifestation doesn't quote unquote work is when people give up. It's when they stop. It's when they are not consistent with believing in the fact that they are capable of having, being, and doing whatever it is that they desire for themselves. So really building that consistency, that gumption, that grit inside of yourself to keep going when it gets rough, when it gets tough, when it's fun, when it's easy, when it would be easier to let it fall to the wayside than it would be to have it be your center focus. That is, in my opinion, so important for the manifestation process, because it's easy to go back to your old ways. Your brain is literally conditioned to do that. It is conditioned to go back to what is known, to what is familiar, to what is safe. But if you want to manifest the life of your dreams, that's going to require you to show up for this new way of being, to embody that version of yourself, to do the inner work, to take the inspired action, and to really pursue this path. And that ties into our fifth component, which is having faith in this process. I know that when your reality does not look the way that you want it to, and you are putting in all of this time, energy, and effort to create the change, and it doesn't feel like it's paying off, how fucking hard that is and how defeated you can feel. But if you can have faith in the fact that best case scenario gets to be the inevitable for your life, that freedom is the inevitable for your life, that wealth is the inevitable for your life, then that is what will manifest. But you must buckle down into the belief of it. And I know for myself, and I can only obviously speak for myself, that the past 3.5 years of transforming my life with intentional manifestation would not have been possible without building a rock solid connection to my faith inside of myself, but also faith inside of the universe, faith inside of God, faith inside of spirit, faith inside of whatever it may be for you. Because in those moments where it does feel really challenging, or it feels as though things are not going the way in which you want them to, it's incredible to know that there's this higher, greater power that is always working in your favor. And to be able to really put like our own human perspective aside, our own biases aside, and be like, okay, this is happening for my higher good in some sort of way, because I know that I am always being guided, loved, and supported by the universe. I know that I am always being guided, loved, and supported by God. I know that I'm always on the right path because I am in the presence of a higher power. I'm in the presence of universal intelligence. That is one of the most powerful things that you can experience. And when you give yourself permission to open up to it, because I can tell you again, at the beginning of my intentional manifestation journey, I was pretty closed off to it. I didn't feel that connected. I didn't really understand it. But when I allowed myself to open up to it and build this muscle of faith, because faith is a muscle and it's only built when pressure is applied and you put yourself into the position of really putting yourself out there with building and creating and manifesting this life of your dreams, that muscle gets stronger. And I've seen absolute miracles manifest in my life since building that faith in myself and in the universe. So again, bringing this back to creating this life full of freedom, believing that best case scenario is the inevitable for your life, believing that there's no wrong path that you can take, believing that the universe is always guiding and supporting you, having that faith in the fact that you are here for a reason, and that reason is to live out your heart's desires. So within that quick recap, those 5 most important components again is 1, doing the inner work, 2, becoming the embodiment of your manifestations, 3, taking inspired action on those manifestations, 4, being consistent within your vision, and 5, building a connection to faith in yourself and in the universe. And again, going back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the podcast, I cannot emphasize enough how much having an expert or a mentor on your journey will help you. And the reason for that being is that working with someone who's already manifested their dream life, working with someone who has the life that you desire for yourself, they know the path. They've already done it. And when you are in their energy and you are in their presence learning from them, you collapse your timeline. You collapse your timeline of how long it is going to take you to be able to do it, because you are taking their timeline and how long it took them and shrinking that down. When you put your time, energy, and effort into learning from somebody who's done it, you have all of their energy, all of the people that they have learned from, all of these experts' energy coming together to help accelerate you on your path and collapsing your timeline to help you manifest the life that you want for yourself. So, in other words, if you are ready to collapse your timeline, if you are ready to manifest the life of your dreams, if you are ready for the freedom, the money, the abundance, you will want to join the Abundant AF Babe Academy. You will want to claim one of those spots because they are going quickly and there are very limited spots available in this round of the Academy to ensure that everybody gets the highest level of support. So if you're ready for it, go click the link down below in the show notes and claim your spot ASAP. But that is all that I have for you on this episode of the No Bullshit Manifestation Show, and I'll chat with you on the next one.